Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Linda and today I'm here with my husband Jason, and in honor of our 1-year wedding anniversary, I wanted to share our love story, how we met, and all that fun stuff. You excited?
Yeah, Dexter is too.
Dexter is joining us in this video for some snuggles over there. Awesome. So let's jump right into it. First question. How did we meet?
Well, work.
Yeah. We met through the business that we are now in together.
Yeah.
So I was an independent broker. Jason was an independent broker. And we'd actually known each other for like 5 years.
Yeah, I would say we both built somewhat of a friendship together. Maybe more of an acquaintance in the beginning. And then that sort of just developed, the relationship developed from there over time. We found each other at the right time. I was going through a great time in my life where I was really focused on me, getting better at my fitness and getting better at my mindset and doing a lot of personal development courses. So I think when we reconnected, I would say, or refound each other, we were in a different spot at that time.
Absolutely. So how did we start dating then? It's hard.
How about you tell your version of the story and then tell my version?
Well, if we go back even just like a little bit further, I think when we really started like talking a little bit more, I'd say Vegas.
Okay.
We
Tell your side of Vegas because I want to hear it.
My side of Vegas.
Yeah, how do you, because you think Vegas is a bigger deal, I think,
Well, than
I maybe thought at the time.
Yeah, I don't think it was a big deal. So obviously you and my sister were really good friends.
Sure.
You guys connected over a mutual interest in YouTube.
Yeah.
So when...
Thanks, Jen, if you're watching.
Yeah, my sister. Wonderful. Appreciate her. She is watching, for the record. So she's giving herself a pat on the shoulder right now. I know it.
Just like a little star.
Little star. But, you know, you and my sister were good friends. And because of that, when we went to Vegas and my sister came with us for the business trip, I was hanging out with my sister, and then you were obviously
Tagged
there
along.
because you and my sister were friends. So it's funny because we have one of our first pictures together in Vegas. And it's such a great picture, I'll share it, but we weren't dating at the time, and you looking at the picture, you'd probably never know, but...
Because it was meant to be.
It was meant to be.
Super cheesy, but...
But I think it was after Vegas that we just started texting more often or connecting on like Instagram and more conversation.
And that's where I think we really nurtured our relationship more, was over that social media aspect. And it's still part of our life.
Built a friendship.
Yeah.
For sure, that way. So then how did we start dating? I don't...
When do you feel like we started dating?
Well, I know...
Or how did we get to the dating?
How do we get to...
I feel like there's a couple of things before.
The dating. So, first off, obviously we built that friendship. And then there was one night I was sitting at home in my pajamas making...
Maybe even before that.
Before that? What was there before that?
The drive-in movie?
Oh, the drive-in movie. There was 2 events.
There's 2 main events, that's why.
The first event was a drive-in movie theater, but it was just a group of us as friends. We went to this car show.
It was like Fast and the Furious.
No, it was Gone in 60 Seconds.
God, it's 60 seconds. I don't even remember the movie.
I remember the movie. I love that movie. But we were just watching the movie, and there was like a little bit of sparks, and sparks turned into hand holding. And
I don't even think we held hands. We were doing that thing.
We were doing that thing where you could like feel the energy like between you.
Like that.
But
we were in the back seat, kind of squished together.
Yeah, it was a really small vehicle.
And I'm trying to like look out the between the 2 front seats.
It was
kind of rainy.
Yeah. Anyway, there were small sparks. So there was that event, and then the other event. So as I was saying, I was at home
Mm-hmm.
cooking rice in my pajamas. I was definitely like hunkered down to stay home that night, and you messaged me and just asked me what I was doing. I said, doing nothing, plan on doing nothing.
Cooking rice in my pajamas.
Cooking rice in my pajamas. And you just said, you're like, I have a friend who's having a barbecue, and
Yeah, it was a surprise birthday party. And this is in my perspective. She doesn't really know what's going on my side because we're messaging. I don't know if I was in between messaging you, going to this thing, but also messaging one of my friends. And we're talking about, should I invite her? And I think they just said, yeah, do it. So I was like, okay. So I like sent a message, and you seemed somewhat interested. So then I like pulled to the side of the road of the highway. And I'm like, okay, let's see. I'm like still on my way to this surprise birthday party. So I sent you a message, and you're like, no, I'm in my pajamas. I got rice on. And then I think I said something like, you can either sit at home in your pajamas and cook rice, or you can come out and have potentially a good time.
Yeah.
That was my close. And I think that kind of helped get you convinced.
Yeah.
And then you're like, I don't want you to like go out of the way. And I'm like, I haven't left yet. Don't worry about it.
Lies.
We've got time.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think I was like, we'll miss the surprise because I'm going to go pick her up. And it's like the opposite side of the city. So I had to like go way out of my way. And I think I was like really earlier than I said I was going to be. So I just waited in the parking lot so you could get ready.
And finish eating my rice.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was such a great time, and we like sang out loud in the car on the way home to like super cheesy sing-along music of our time.
It was really just didn't really have any barriers or walls put up, and I think we could just be ourselves.
Totally.
And it was really fun.
So then our first date.
Yeah, what we would potentially call a date later. I think we were still trying to figure out. I didn't ever ask you to date me at this point yet. I think we were figuring it out on this dinner date.
Correct.
So the two things we loved at the time. One, sushi. Still love it. Something we do all the time. And
everywhere we go, we eat sushi.
Yeah, and then the second one at the time was really interesting to us was these salt float tanks that you could like just I guess meditate in. You go in, it's like completely dark, and you submerge yourself in water that's really salt concentrated, then you float in it. So it was like float tanks is what they called it. So that was the date idea. Again, not quite a date at this point. It was like, okay, we'll go for sushi and then go for the float tank.
And then
I think so, because we didn't want to be all like salty and gross afterwards. Yeah. So we went for sushi.
Yeah. It was at that point where you asked me, you're like, would you date me? I remember because later that night I phoned my girlfriend and I was like, would you date me the same as do you want to date me? Are we dating? I was like, I don't know. I don't think we're dating because he didn't specifically ask, but I wonder what he thinks.
Then we did the float tank, which in my mind, looking back, probably not the best first date. But again, we wouldn't really know it was going to be a date at this point because you pretty much go into two separate rooms. It's not like you're sharing a float
for an
tank.
hour.
Yeah.
It's like you're going to go hang out by yourself for an hour. I'm going to go hang out by myself for an hour.
And I had done the float tank before and it was awesome and I really had a great experience in it. And then this one, I was just thinking about what she's experiencing or what she's thinking in the other room. But then we got to meet up in the room afterwards, the kind of decompression room, which we have some tea and it was just hanging out. But I think that was the essence of what our relationship was going to be founded on, was that moment of just like, we value these kind of things. These experiences are important to us. It's part of our lifestyle. So I think that was another good touch point.
Yeah, it was really the essence of just at no point, because it was like a date, but like not a date, is we were just completely genuinely ourselves without having to like worry about all the pressure of a date. And maybe that's why it went so well. So
yeah,
who asked out who first?
I'll take the will you go out with me, because it was kind of like that.
It was. I think I don't ever remember you really asking either. I think it just happened, it just was. Who said I love you first?
I did. The way our relationship went was everything just felt supernatural, super like just kept flowing and kept growing, and the I love you came very naturally.
Yeah.
Maybe quicker than most people watching would ever want.
But on that note too, you know, we're not kids anymore. Like we were definitely, we were in our late 20s.
Early 30s.
Late 20s, early 30s. So we had done enough personal work and personal reflection and enough, call it life experiences, that I feel like at that point, when you know, you know.
When you know, you know.
When you know.
How about I ask you a question?
Okay.
What would you say are your love languages? Maybe pick like your top one and then like your second one after that.
Okay. Number 1 love language, words of affirmation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, tell me I'm pretty.
Did I tell you look so pretty?
Well, thank you. Definitely words of affirmation, and then quality time would be my second one. Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Quantity and quality, 2 very different things.
Totally. Yeah, I bounce around a little bit. I think it's words of affirmation are 1. I wouldn't say that's the top one. Maybe acts of service is higher up on the list. What's your love language? Comment it down below. If you don't know what it is, it's probably a good thing to figure it out.
That is, I'll put the name and the link down below so you can discover your love language and read up a little bit more about it and, just kind of fill your partner's love tank.
Make sure your partner does it too, because the way you receive love and give love may be different than how they receive and give love.
While you're down there and commenting, go hit the subscribe button. Give this video a like, because I love having you guys on this adventure with me, and I hope that you'll join me in the next one too. All right, back to the question. Favorite thing about each other?
I think the biggest thing that I like about Linda is that her attitude, more often than not, is positive, and it's always excited and looking at the bright side of things. And that could be good for me, because sometimes I go inward, and when I'm thinking and when I'm dealing with stuff, I'm very inward focused. So her being this little light of firecracker and silliness and all these weird things that she does, that really helps break me out of the shell that sometimes I put on. So that's what I think I like most about you.
So I'm silly.
Yeah, you can be a little wild. Come in the room dancing or
that happens
things
often.
like that. Yeah.
I think my favorite thing about you was that you were just committed to the communication and the listening. Like, you actually genuinely care to be present. But it was like, wow, someone who actually cares actually wants to be the other 100%.
Yeah, communication is one of the hardest things in a relationship or a friendship or family. It is so easy to just have your narrative going on, but not actually hear the other person.
And that was actually something very early in our relationship, was like, these are my communication standards. I will accept nothing else.
Yeah, I never want us to really hold on to anything too long. And if I'm not being who I say I want to be, or who I'm trying to be, I need somebody who can just say, hey, Jason, remember, it's not who you want to be, even if I might not want to hear it.
Yeah.
That was some of the core just memories of that.
Yeah, for sure.
Right.
I love you.
How did you find it was moving in with each other? Like, moving in with me?
Very natural, like we'd always lived together.
It was easy.
Yeah, it was. I mean, you were living at your brother's place at the time.
Yeah.
And I was living in a small 1-bedroom condo, just me and Dexter, and we were on complete opposite ends of the city.
Yeah.
So you would have to drive all the way to my house to stay the night. It was inconvenient to spend time at each other's places because we live so far. So my lease was coming due, and it was just like, well, my lease is coming up. I'm either going to renew it for a year or we're going to find a place together. And we found a really great apartment that we rented for a couple of years. And yeah, it's honestly, we just moved in and it was just natural and easy, and it worked. All right, fun question. I gave you $1 million. What would you do with it?
Okay. $1 million. So $1 million is not a lot of money.
No.
It goes fast. I think our answers will be similar. I think we have a plan if we talked about it. I don't know if it's the plan that we'll continue to go for, but it was like pay off any remaining debts. So you're totally debt free. I'd have to run the numbers. So I'm like...
Numbers guy.
Yeah.
Numbers guy.
I'd have to run the difference between paying off this house, because what we would want to do is Airbnb the top and bottom of this house.
Yeah.
Then I would buy my parents a place to live in it.
Yeah.
And we would move into their existing house because it's a really nice house on a lake, and in our city right now, it's very hard to find a place like that under $1 million. And then from there, invest the rest, because investing the rest will produce another cash flow income. Then we could support our families and help them, and I don't know, do trips together with that kind of residual income that's coming in from that.
Back to business. What is it like working together, being in business together? You know what? I hear a lot of people say, oh my gosh, you work with your spouse. Like, that must be crazy. Honestly, I think it's great. I think the biggest thing is, like, most couples don't talk about their work to each other because they can't relate to what each other do for work. You know, it's like, oh, what'd you do today at the shop? And it's like, okay, great. I know nothing about that, so we can't really have a conversation about it. But the fact that we work, you know, together in the same industry, we can kind of share what happened throughout the day and the things that came up and things that we learned, and it's relevant to each other, so it gives us a lot more to talk about.
Yeah, I absolutely love being in business with my spouse. It is the best thing you can ever do. Honestly, if you and your spouse are those kind of people that love to work with each other and be around each other all day, and then just really work really well as a team, and you have wanted to start a business but haven't done it yet, send us a message, because we've done it. We love what we do. So we'd love to support whoever else is out there that wants to do that same thing. But it's the best thing. If you can do it, do it. It'll change your life. It's
highly
so good.
recommend it. Highly recommend it. Okay, let's talk about our engagement story.
We had planned a trip. We were going to Portugal was the main idea. Because my dad's from there, we have family there, and we wanted to spend at least something like 2 weeks there to really enjoy it and tour around. And I want Linda to come for sure. Obviously, I wanted to propose to her, so I was like, okay, what's another cool place I can kind of get away with? So I convinced our family, there was 6 of us total going, that we should go to Paris first.
Well, the connecting flight did land in Paris.
True. So I was trying to extend that a little bit.
Yeah.
Like a couple of days. Hey, we should spend some time in there. We have to stop there anyway. Wouldn't that be cool? So they all were on board for it while I'm working on getting like the ring made with Jen. Again, thank you, Jen, for helping me get the ring made. So we spent a few extra days in Paris. Now, Paris was interesting because we did a lot in a small amount of time. And I had a somewhat of a plan for Million. I didn't want to do Eiffel Tower because I didn't want her to kind of guess that it was going to happen. So I wanted to use it as like a fake out. So like we were going to go see obviously the Eiffel Tower. There were some other things we wanted to do, but I really looked around Paris for something unique, but still had that tower aspect. So I found a bridge that was beautiful. Artwork on it, had gold towers on each one.
It's called Le Pont d'Alexandre or Alexander Bridge.
Yeah. But anyway, it was beautiful because you could see the Eiffel Tower, and I knew at nighttime the Eiffel Tower would light up, so we had this nice big view, and I knew we had a song that we wanted to play at the same time, so that was all kind of formulated. But I couldn't hold on to the rings. I didn't want her to catch me with it, so I gave it to my mom at the time. So she had it on her person's like the whole flight, the first like 2-3 days of Paris. It was so good, but we were getting so tired because we walked
30,000 steps that day. It was a long day.
We had a few things planned, but everything got kind of moved around just with scheduling, with like doing events and stuff like that. So the weather started to change, and I was like, this isn't good. It looks like it's gonna rain. I think it was even forecasted to rain. So I didn't want to propose in the rain. I'm like, this would suck. But everyone needed food. Like, we were like Sahara Desert. Like, we need somewhere to stop. So I had nowhere picked out to stop to eat. So we found a cool place. I think it was called like...
I wouldn't even remember.
I think it was called... Remember that Notre Dame church? I think burnt down?
Yeah.
It was called that. I think because it was across from it.
Oh, it was. You could see the church from the restaurant.
And the meal was fantastic. Everything in Paris is
So
delicious. It's so good. So then I'm like, I go down to the base. There's like this cave basement. So I'm like, tell my brother, I'm like, come with me. So I'm trying to like plan with him. Okay, this is what we're gonna do next. It looks like it's gonna rain. The wind's kind of picking up. We need to get to this bridge kind of as the sun's setting because that's when the Eiffel Tower lights up. So I'm trying to time all this without getting caught in the rain. So then we've seen these people who have these little like carts.
They're like, I think if you go to Mexico, they're called like tuk-tuks.
Yeah, they're like bicycles with 2-seaters. And then they have cool lights on them too. So then I'm like, okay, after we eat dinner, we're gonna find 3 of these, because there's 6 of us, so 2 people in each. And that'll get us to the bridge way faster. And I'm like, I don't care how much it costs, just do it. So we got out of dinner and I'm like, hey, Nicole, which is my brother's wife, I said, wants to see this bridge so bad. We have to stop there before we go home. And everyone's like, I just want to go home. But I knew if I didn't do it that night, the next night we would have been somewhere else. I think we were going to Versailles or something like that. Mm-hmm. And I just hadn't planned it that way. So I really just wanted to get it over with so that she could enjoy the rest of the trip being engaged. So then we took these things and they were so much fun. The lights were on. We didn't have to walk. So I think that made us happier. And then that bridge was pretty busy. So we did a bit of a walk around it.
Yeah.
And then we ended up on one of the far corners, which was perfect because it was like right in line with the Eiffel Tower. And I think the Eiffel Tower was lit up.
Oh, yeah.
So it was lit up.
Yep.
You had your back turned, or I think we were taking a picture.
We were like standing at the edge of the bridge taking a picture.
And as we're crossing the street,
the Eiffel Tower.
My mom like hands off the ring to me. And I shove it in my pocket.
Yeah.
So then I think my brother was taking the photo, but he was also playing our song.
Yeah. First off, I did not expect it. We'd been together for a year, so like
You didn't think this whole trip was an engagement trip?
It never even dawned on me. Like I had zero idea that it was happening. So when our song came on, I was genuinely like, what the heck?
What is weird? Who's playing that music?
It was like 100% surprised.
Yeah. And then I said nothing and everything all at once. Something just like when you know again. I think that's a theme of our relationship. And I didn't really have to say a lot. I don't think I said something like we'll be together forever. I love you. Who knows? I can't remember. But it was just the feeling and the look that made it perfect.
And then I said yes.
And then she said yes.
And then there was tears. And celebration.
We had champagne. That night.
And then the next day, we took an incognito picture while in Paris with the ring as like the little teaser, which was of course after we told like the immediate family that, definitely had to hear it, not over social media. So.
Made some Paris phone calls to back home.
Made some Paris phone calls. It was special.
It was good. I'm glad I kept it a secret.
So I'm curious, how was wedding planning during the world's largest pandemic of our time?
Well, it was mega stressful. We got engaged, September 2019. So then, literally 6 months later, the whole world shut down. Obviously, we thought this won't last. We're gonna do a destination wedding, so we're gonna go to Mexico. We started fine-tuning like which resorts we wanted to go to, and then we quickly realized that the pandemic was not going away. Things were going to stay shut down a little longer than we thought. It didn't make sense to have people put deposits down without having any idea of what was to come. So all of 2020, we just kind of put everything on the back burner, and then it would have been like April of 2021. There was like a glimmer of hope that we might still actually be able to have not an elopement, that we'd still be able to actually have a wedding, but it did end up having to be local. Honestly, happened totally just a really cool manifestation story that we ended up finding the perfect piece of land that we ended up being able to get married at. It was everything that we wanted without palm trees. We had a beautiful setting out in the trees. We did a picnic dinner. So we went with boxed charcuteries. The charcuterie box was absolutely amazing.
It was perfect. It was exactly what we wanted. We felt like we could still enjoy the time with people that were there.
So let's talk about the next 5 years.
I think I talked about if I win $1 million, what would I do?
Yeah.
I think that's our next 5-year plan.
It is.
Because it's something we were going to do anyway. Just here's the thing. Money usually just speeds up whatever you're going to do anyway. It increases the type of person you are. Anyway, next 5 years, I would love to Airbnb the top floor of this house that we built and the basement. Just would be a gnarly cash flow increase. It just makes sense to us. Another part of, if I were to add on to what I told you before, 5 years, I'd love to get a piece of land somewhere, or at least, partly invested with some other people on a piece of land somewhere. That's where I can go to disconnect if I want, and then eventually create like an Airbnb getaway stay. What do you do? What's your plan?
Babies.
Of course, I forgot the babies.
Yeah.
That was a given.
Not always a given. Not everyone wants babies.
If you didn't know, we want twins.
Yeah.
Boy and girl. We've been manifesting this for a long time. I hope you guys stick around for it. I think it's going to be a great time. That's really what this channel was envisioned at the very beginning to have. So I hope you're up to date now on all the crazy things that we've done so far. We've done a lot in the time we've been together.
Oh, yeah.
Up to now, our 1 year anniversary just passed.
Yeah.
It feels like a century, a decade.
In a good way.
Yeah, in a good way.
From moving in together, doing a big trip,
Just
building a house,
getting married,
starting the Airbnb project, which, there's a playlist now on my channel, so you can go and check out that entire series.
growing a business.
Merging our business and growing a business together. We've done a lot. In the short time, 4 years we've been together?
Yeah.
4 years, so I'm excited for the next 5. So I hope that you guys enjoyed us sharing our love story, and I hope that you'll join me in all other future videos. Bye.